Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We're going to shift our attention now to the preparations ahead of the 2019 general elections. And we're being joined in our Abuja studios by Alhaji Yagbaji. Sani is the presidential candidate of Action Democratic Party. I want to thank you so much indeed for joining us on Sunrise Daily. But just before we look at political issues, let me get your thoughts, since you're running for president, about this very disturbing Boko Haram insurgency and attacks in the northeast of the country. What do you think is missing?
Well, I think what is missing is governance, which is very clear to every Nigerian. If we had governance, yes, we have a government, but there's no governance, because governance would have mean that the problems that have been with us for so long would have found a solution that today would be history. The problems would be history. But here we are with a government that, in fact, personifies the solution. In terms of the leader, the head of the government, which is President Muhammad Buhari, being a retired military officer, a retired general, the former head of state, from the north himself, a Muslim, somebody who is highly respected in the north. I think, with the office, the authority of the office and his own power, what I mean by power is the followership that he has, the cult followership that he has in the north, would have been by itself just a solution, in the solution that is required, that Nigeria needs, because that's what brought this government to power. The fact that the Jonathan administration was not able to properly, articulate their solution, the solution to the problems. That's why people thought that when you have a military officer, a retired, military general, who was the president of this country, head of the government of this country, you will say you will just go to sleep. Nigerians thought that that is the end of the solution. But we have now today a compounded problem. Not only today we are battling with the issue of Boko Haram.
If you allow me to just come in here, yes, we know that we have this problem. We know that we have this problem in the northeast. But you are running for president. What would you do specifically to stop these killings in the northeast, especially those ones perpetrated by Boko Haram?
I will bring governance. What you need to do is to professionalize, the military. The military we have today, they are not professionalized. They are, in fact, trading with the people's lives. That's what we see. You spend billions. This government took $1 billion, just some few months ago, that they are going to fight Boko Haram. Today, we have seen nothing. In fact, what you have today is more of these problems, in the different forces that we never thought of before. So what I'm saying is that professionalize the army, engage these people in a way that they will know that they matter, because what you have shown them is that they are not, you treat them as if they don't matter, and they are telling you that they matter. So we are treating this thing with levity. We are playing politics with these things, with the problems we have, people's lives. So what I'm saying is that we will bring governance. We will make sure that people are engaged effectively. We will make sure that you will deploy. How can you keep a general, the service teams that have served their term, to remain in office, and they are remaining in office not because they are solving the problems, because the problems are becoming more and more by the day. Why not allow those who have served their terms to go and bring the young officers, officers that will now want to prove that, yes, if you give them the chance for them to also grow in the ranks, they will prove their worth, by ensuring that when you give them the head of the units of the army, I'm talking about the service chiefs, you will have a different engagement with the Boko Haram. Perhaps one of the problems we have.
If I may come in again, because a lot of people will disagree with you concerning concerning your submissions. Because if you look back in time, Boko Haram was largely defeated by this administration, and these are the same set of service chiefs that were on ground. So if you have to argue that they're actually doing nothing, then a lot of people seem to disagree with you. Now that the COS, the Chief of Army Staff, is in the northeast, Don't you think that that is one step that could begin to, readdress, rearrange, and reform the army apparatus such that let me land on this, such that we begin to see results again? Because don't forget that they were decimated, and the army thought at that point that, okay, since they are being decimated, we can now perhaps take a little breather and now get back to action again with the resurgence.
So that shows you how unprofessional they are. A professional army will not just fight a kind of firefighting arrangement. They will fight and liquidate them, to the last point. But here you are with an army that was deployed to the northeast. We heard of that, about 2 years ago or something like that. And then today again you see are deploying. Why don't you finish the job when you are there? If they are professional, if they are really dedicated and they are not trading with our lives, they are not making this as a business, for themselves, I'm sure this problem will be behind us long time ago. And perhaps because you have somebody who is one of them, that's why they are just doing business as usual. If you have somebody outside the military who is more with the people who have the feelings of the human beings, because sometimes the military people, they treat, it's like doctors, they don't see human life the way, to them it's just something that is a professional, it's a business. So what I'm trying to say is that this government has failed, believe you me. It has failed on where we expected them to excel. That is the unfortunate thing that has happened. Otherwise, we won't be going back and forth with the issue of this Boko Haram. It should be behind us. And by the way,
if I may come in here, Alhaji Yagbaji, there's really, we need to manage our time. So if you can just, more like, I know you said to me about, I'll bring governance. The issue of security, in specific terms, what will you do? What would your party do differently if you get into office to handle security in the country?
Simply. Professionalize the army. Ensure that you give the required engagement. What am I saying by required engagement? Equip them properly. Professionalize them. Give them the required equipment. Why is it that today that they are going to buy the equipment when they took the money, $1 billion, how many months ago? Or how many years ago they took that money? It is today that they now realize that we have to buy the equipment. We have to equip the army. It's today that they realize that they have to redeploy again, the service teams. We are not going to do that. We are going to approach it in a professional manner. And that's what I'm saying. Professionalism is the issue. If, perchance, our army cannot handle it, for God's sake, you have the other armies that are there, mercenaries that you can engage. There are sometimes you need a stopgap kind of solutions. You put a solution that will take you from where you are to where you should be as a nation. There's nothing wrong. You can engage other countries to help you, to engage mercenaries if that's what you have to do. If your army is not up to the task, that we have, because it's amazing that this is the same army that when they are in other countries, they are so much given accolades, they are praised, that they have done wonderfully well. But now in their own country, they cannot solve a simple problem that is localized, a localized problem that you can solve. So Boko Haram is Nigerians.
A lot of Nigerians will disagree with you. They will tell you that the army is very professional, that the army has been doing its bit. They will tell you that probably...
Then let's see it. Let's see the professionalism. Let's get the results. The money is there. The people are there. So what is lacking?
But did you also hear?
Professionalism is not put to work.